Happy holidays and welcome to Festive Tech Calendar 2025. Hi, I am Teresa, and today we're going to wrap up 2025 with the best of new Outlook. But before we get started, let me introduce myself as well as tell you a little bit about Tech Fest Calendar 2025. Again, my name is Teresa. The company is Track Creation for E. I am a certified skilled instructor and user adoption expert and a 3 times Microsoft MVP. I help users and professionals master Microsoft 365 applications and Copilot. You can follow me on any of the social media platforms. I like to encourage users by saying, go work your magic. So what is Fest Tech Calendar 2025? A group of IT professionals and MVPs, we get together to support and bring awareness to a charity. This year's charity is Beeson Cancer Charity out of Scotland. What we'll do from December the 1st through the 31st, you will see different videos, people showcasing features and functionalities throughout the Microsoft 365 ecosystem. So how you can donate is click on Just Giving, and the link will be in the show notes. Again, we're actually helping them by providing services for well-being, health and work, bereavement. I know that this year I lost my dad, and so bereavement is very important. Group support and health resources. Our goal is to raise 1,000 British pounds. So help us this year with this fundraiser. My objective for today is we're going to wrap up 2025 with the best of new Outlook. This is not a deep dive. I'm going to actually talk about new Outlook timelines and some of the key moments in 2025 and showcase some features that was rolled out this year. So I always like to start off with the whys. Why did Microsoft move to new Outlook? And the main reason is they wanted to make sure that the code base was the same throughout, Outlook for the web, Outlook for desktop, even for the commercial version, which is the free Outlook.com. This year, Microsoft 365 2016 and 2019 applications did retire in October. And what this means is it's unsupported. Many of those organizations that use those applications are moving to the Microsoft 365, and new Outlook will be part of that as well. Now, Classic will still be available, and it is, about 28 years old. Microsoft has not said when the cut over date will happen, but on the books, end of service is 2029. Now, don't think that you have a whole lot of time and say, I'm going to wait until we get a little bit closer. Microsoft is giving organizations enough time to make sure any workflows that are dependent on Classic Outlook get taken care of before the cutover date. If you are using the standalone applications like Office 2021, end of support is October 2026. I like to share this with folks because as they started to buy these standalone applications, I would not recommend purchasing the 2021 because you're only going to get 1 year of support. If you instead think about getting Office 2024 because it is available through 2029. So what are some of the timelines? I know that in January 2025 that the commercial applications, that's the Outlook.com, Hotmail.com, they moved to the opt-out stage. Also, the small business applications, that's the Microsoft 365 for Business, also moved to opt out stage. So what is that? So by default, when you launch Outlook, it will be new Outlook with the option to toggle back to classic. So that is been in place since the beginning of the year. I do know that for education, January 2026 will happen for the education groups, and for enterprise, April 26 will also move to the opt-out stage. Again, you have the option to go back to classic, so no worries there. I wanted you to be aware of, since 2022, many of the classic users tried New Outlook then and just absolutely hated it. A lot of missing features during that time, but I can tell you since then they have rolled out 149 features, and 28 of them is inclusive to New Outlook only. So if you haven't, if you've tried it, when they first rolled it out, I would encourage you to give it a try again. Microsoft wants to hear from you. They want to gain feedback on what some of the features that you can't do without. Like, for an example, for me, I'm waiting for the quick parts, right? And so think about, you can't just say, I want all the features, because Microsoft has made it clear that they are not moving all the features over to New Outlook. So make sure you give them some feedback on what features are really important to your workflow. Microsoft will give users a 12-month notice when they are planning to do the cutoff date, because at some point, New Outlook will be the Outlook application. I wanted you to be aware of, in 2025, we got a new logo for New Outlook. They provided us with a 2D version as well as the 3D versions. So you can have a little fun when you're pulling information together. If you are part of a user adoption group, the classic Outlook did not change. The reason why I wanted to share that with you is because as you starting to transition from classic to New Outlook, you do have the option to open up both applications at the same time. So in your search bar, you're going to type in Outlook, click on apps, and they will show both of the applications, and then you can choose the applications you want to work in. Again, I encourage you to work in New Outlook. Yes, you're going to be a little slow at first because it's something new. And then if you are missing a particular feature, you can jump back over to Classic and take care of it. So in 2025, Microsoft rolled out a total of 109 features that is available or partially available, because there are times I'm going to use offline mode. When it first rolled out, they gave us read-only functionality, and then we end up getting the full functionality of offline. And you'll see that across some of the other features as well. They have 8 upcoming features that's going to be rolled out that's on the roadmap. They're investigating 5 features that's going to be available to end users, and there are 13 that is unsupported. I recommend that you download this document where I pulled together all the features that is available, unsupported, upcoming, and under investigation. Okay, so as you can see, I decorated my office today because I wanted to unwrap some gift boxes, and let's see what features was released in 2025. So here's the first one. Account management received a lot of new features this year. We've seen file tabs, versions, account descriptions, shared mailboxes as accounts with icons, shared with me, and drop and drag accounts. So let me showcase some of those features. So with the file tab, because this was missing before, now what they've done is actually grouped account information, open and export, that's for PST files, and versions. I do want to show you this. Anytime you are having trouble and you're working with your IT department, or if you're working with Microsoft support team, copy this information and provide it to them. There's, multiple versions out there, different type release, like I'm a target release. Someone could also have pre-releases as well. And so this information is important to the IT team. Also, if you're having trouble, go ahead and say enable troubleshooting logging for 24 hours. Again, this is just going to help them figure out what is wrong or what's going on. So just keep that in mind. Account information, my favorite feature for 2025 is when Microsoft gave us the ability to give our accounts a description, a name. Look in my left navigation. Notice that I see Teresa. This is a new display name for Adele, Nestor as well. What was happening before is my email address would be listed here, and I was exposing it whenever I am on a call or doing training and sharing my screen. Think about it in your case. If you work with multiple clients and have a mailbox, you wouldn't want to expose your email address. So how do you make that change? Click on Manage. If you actually press the Windows key plus the period, you're going to actually get the emojis. I like to include emojis here just because my eyes are drawn to color. You could call this personal. You could call this project, whatever you like. And again, as you can see, I lined mine with color because it also aligned with my calendar color. So that's one thing. The other thing that they did with account management is, notice we see these icons. These are shared with me icons. And you also have a share with me under your settings accounts, shared with me. Now you can see what accounts has been shared with you and by who. Now, if the account was shared by you, by your IT department, there's not much you can do other than you can also hide it from your left navigation. This is test again, test again. The other highlight when it comes to account management is I'm in Adele's inbox. I can also drag email to an account that she actually owns or have full access to. So in the inbox, notice I have that email there, and you can do it both ways. So I can actually move this back to her inbox or to any custom folder of your choice. Okay, so I have another gift box here. Let's open up this one and let's see what feature this is. PST. So PST was a big conversation highlight for 2025. I actually met with Caitlin, who is a new Outlook product engineer. And because there was a lot of questions that I could not answer, as well as from the community, people were saying, I am not using New Outlook until I have PST functionality. Well, folks, you finally have full functionality with PSTs. You can add PSTs to your favorites. These are some of the things that I like about it. Auto export your mailbox to PST directly from Outlook. I don't have to go to Classic anymore to export these files. And you can move between mailbox and PSTs. Now, here, this is the full list of what you can do, but let me showcase a few things that is available to you now. So I'm going to go to File and Open and Export. It's going to take you to a Files folder, Outlook data files. Another, the extension is PST, but it's also known as Outlook data files. You can't import from Classic yet. That is coming. This is one of those when I talk about partial and fully available, but you do have full functionality to export. Notice that I did export this file here earlier today because it does take about 10 to 15 minutes for files between 1,600 files per minute. I didn't have a whole lot, so it didn't take, but you need to factor in, how large is your mailbox, how many large files you have in your mailbox. And I did mention that you can set this to reoccurring. Let me show you how. Click on Get Started. We're going to switch to Adele. Click on the whole entire mailbox. Hit Next. What do you want to do? How do you want to handle duplicates? You want to skip duplicates because you don't want to, make your PST file very large, duplicate items. Do you want to set a time range? Think about it in this sense. If you want to have one PST file for a given year, 2025, and potentially upload to it every quarter, you have the option to do so. But the first time you download, you want to say export all items. Or if you, for a project that you're only looking for something in the last 3 months, you can specify the timing as well. And then click Next. Do you want to set this to be recurring? Again, if you automate this to where you're going to export to your PST file every quarter, here's the option to do so. You can choose where you want to store your file. I just happen to store my information under Documents. Here's the file that I did earlier for all of my full year 2025, and every quarter it would update. Couple things to keep in mind is to allow time. You can continue to work while you're running your export, but don't close out Outlook. If you close it out, it will pause, but you can at least work. So they made it very easy. So this was a big highlight, key moment for 2025 PSTs. Okay, folks, I have another box here. Let's open this up and let's see what's in it. Mail items received a lot of enhancements in 2025. As you can see on the screen, there's about 11 of them that I'm going to cover and share with you today. So let me get started. So up first, favorites got a lot of enhancements. You can click on the more options in the favorites. You can hide favorites. I'm not sure who will want to hide their favorites. I think they did this for Outlook.com users. I could not work without my favorites. And you have the ability to pin and unpin your favorites. And so what does that do? If I go ahead and unpin it, look here, because I have a lot of items in my favorites. I can keep scrolling and scrolling, right? So when you lock it, they call it pin, but I say lock it, then you have a reserved area for your favorites and then also for your mail items down below. So that's an option for you. And you still have the ability to to collapse this if you like. If you're not aware that when in your favorites, you can add mailbox. Adele is my secondary account and I have it listed in my favorites. I have folders. I have search folders, categories listed in my favorites, groups, and people. So I know that was rolled out in 2024, but just in case if you're new to New Outlook, I want you to be aware of that. Also notice that I have things color coded. So my eyes are drawn to color. I'm able to just know right off the bat that these are all Adele's items, and down below are Teresa. The other enhancement that was rolled out in 2025 is you can color your folders. So if you click on the more options and change the color of your folders to any color that you like. So that's nice. When it comes to categories, they received a few enhancements as well. So let's just click on an item and go to our categories and manage our categories. Notice I have the ability to now assign shortcut keys to a category. So if I edit this from Control F2 all the way to Control F12, that you can assign a particular category to a shortcut. Also notice that you end up getting a new color this year. They actually call this color None. So some of the feedback that Microsoft received that they didn't like all the colors, it was just becoming too much for them and they wanted a neutral color. And I'll show you what that looks like. Now, if I press F2, there it is. Notice that that color changed, and I want to turn that back to red. The message list pane also received some enhancements this year. Unfortunately, you cannot right click and say expand all or collapse all yet. That's something that I've been waiting for, but you can jump to. So if you jump to a time period, let's say that I want looking for an email that was in October around the 14th and press go. It will jump to that area. Again, if I say jump to, and I'm looking for something in November, around the 6th, press go, I can quickly get there. Notice that it found the closest date to it. So that's nice. Another feature that you received in 2025 is let's say that you are cleaning out your inbox. Notice this is 2024 items and you just want to go ahead and move it to a folder. Just right click on that message header and perform your action. You can move, you can copy, delete. You can mark these items read or unread and even sign it to a category. So right click, and I am going to move it to Adele's 2024 stuff. And all those items was quickly moved out of my inbox into a specified folder of my choice. Let's compose a new message so I can showcase a couple features that was rolled out. One, you can actually record a message right out of Outlook. So here I can choose my camera, turn on my microphone. I can record the screen. I can do screen only, so I'm faceless, or I can do both. You can actually also write a script so it's in front of you, and as you give in a while you're recording a message. You only can record up to 5 minutes. Just so you know, watch this video for the deep dive on how to record a message in New Outlook. That's game changing. Also, by popular demand, Send to OneNote is back. So to do that, look for the More Apps in your ribbon and choose Send to OneNote. Or you can also, while you have that message open, click on the apps icon and Send to OneNote. A lot of people was really upset when they could not get to this quickly and easily, and they were really happy when this came back in 2025. Also, by popular demand, mail templates and mail merge is now available in New Outlook. If I go to New, select Mail from Template, I can upload and reuse a template, and I'm good to go. So make sure you watch this video because I do a deep dive on how to, move all your templates from Classic over into New Outlook. Just so you know, the two of them don't sync. So any new templates that you create in New Outlook will not be available in Classic. So keep that in mind. And I do encourage you to watch that video because there's, some little nuggets that you need to be aware of. But easy enough. All you do is compose your emails, add your images if you like, hyperlinks and tables. From your ribbon, select Message, Mail Template, and Save as a Template. And you're good to go to reuse it. It will appear in your list of templates. You also have the ability to forward this as a template. So think about that your teammates want the same template. You forward it to them. They add it to their list. And my favorite word today, they're good to go. And you can get to your settings here as well and review all the templates that you have added. So let's say that we were working on this template. We wanted to go out to a few people. Notice that when it comes to mail merge, you cannot personalize it yet. You could change this to say something like, hello, requester. And then you can start a mail merge. And notice you're going to see the from line, you're going to see recipients, and the subject. So there's the benefit to this is you don't have to worry about accidentally putting the list of names in the to field when you meant to put it in the BCC. And each individual will receive an individual email. I do not recommend that if you have a email group or email distribution list, don't send it that way because they all will see the names. You do have to put the names in individually. Again, if you watch that mail merge video, I'll show you a tip and a workaround. I have one more item that I want to show you out of mail items that was a key highlight in 2025, newsletter. Been able to create professional looking newsletters right from Outlook. If you notice here in the left navigation that I see the icon for newsletter, let's click on it. Newsletter is available to you via the web, New Outlook, as well as Classic. Now, if you don't see the icon in Classic yet, there is a website that you can go to, and I will provide you with the link in the show notes. Here, I'm on the Explore tab. So any, departments or individuals who create newsletters within your organization and make them public, that you have the option to go and subscribe to a newsletter. What will happen is you have the ability to review the newsletter from this portal as well as receive an email. Any drafts, if you are actually coordinating a newsletter, you will find all of them in your drafts. Any published newsletters that you are a owner of or a key contributor of will show up here. And as you can see, I have a few of them here. And let's open up one. I have a banner here, table of contents within my newsletters. You can add pictures and have your different layouts for the content. You can allow people to provide a reaction to even within a section within your newsletter or for the whole entire newsletter. Notice that I've assigned Nestor to be the contributor for this information, and he has provided text and tables. If I come down a little further, we added images to showcase the charts. You can't add a chart physically into the newsletters, but there's nothing wrong with you taking a screenshot of it and add it in in it that way. And then down at the bottom, you have an easy way to insert who your authors are. You also have analytics where you can look and see how effective your newsletter is, the total views, how many people looked at it from the emails. So really nice newsletter right out of Outlook. There are a couple of limitations when it comes to newsletter. One, you only can submit it to people within your organization, not to folks externally. I have created 2 videos. One of them to give you a deep dive on how to create it because there's templates involved, and I didn't even show you all the different components that you can add to your newsletter. The second video focused on a workaround on how you can push out your newsletter externally. I have another gift box here. Let's see what's inside of here. Calendar feature releases in 2025. There was not many, but they had one huge significant change at the end of the year, right before Microsoft Ignite. Whenever you're scheduling a new event, that the whole layout is different. Everything is still there, but they just reposition everything to accommodate Copilot. So let me show you some of the changes that was made to the calendar. The first thing I want to show you is PSTs are now visible in your calendar. Here is Adele's primary calendar in red, just so you can see what that looks like. And if I look at her backup, this was her backup calendar, and it's also made visible. Notice that I have these icons here, so clearly I can look at this from visually and know that these are backup files. So make sure that when you rename your PST files that you add some type of indicator that those are backup. Okay, so let's go ahead and turn this calendar off. Under the settings, under events and invitations, you now have the option to choose to delete invitations from the inbox after responding. Some people like it. Some people saying automatically just go ahead and delete them. You have the option to select or deselect. And I don't know if you're aware, this was rolled out in 2024. You do have the ability to show or hide decline meetings on your calendar as well. And let me show you what that looks like. Under filter, under meetings, I have the option to show or hide decline meetings. Notice here is a decline meeting. If I deselect it, it will not show. If I enable it, my decline meetings will appear. This is really helpful for folks who says, you know what, I cannot attend this meeting, but guess what? I now have time and I have all the details to be able to get to that decline meeting if I want to. Here is the real major change that happened with the calendars. I'm going to create a new event. Notice that there are a lot of changes here. You do have the option to turn on Copilot if you want to. And give it time to load. So it's there. Let's go ahead and deselect that. You have series now. If you want to have reoccurring meetings, you select this. And if you want to deselect it, I thought that you could, click on it to remove it, but you have to click on it from this location and deselect reoccurring. Busy. Notice that now you need to get familiar with the icons. This is for reminders, categories, as well as mark it as private or not private. When you click on more apps, you will see send to OneNote. So things just has really just been moved around. Response options, if you want to request responses, allow forwarding, and hide attendee lists. It used to be up in the top navigation and it's no longer there. Scheduler poll is, now located in this location as well. And the scheduler, this is that schedule assistant, right? Again, they just have repositioned it on your screen to allow room for Copilot. Okay, so we got another box. So let's open up and let's see what features that we're going to demonstrate in this segment. Feature releases for people or contacts. I still call it contacts. I think the technical term is people. Microsoft fixed a lot of bugs that was going on with the contacts. I know that a lot of folks like in the sales and marketing who has a lot of clients and are on the phone with their clients a lot would like to see some improvements and some enhancements when it comes to contacts. But I've noticed some user interface upgrades as well as removed global address book. Now for small business subscriptions, that's what I have. I don't see global address anymore. And I don't know what that looks like for enterprise because again, this was very recent. Let's take a look at it. So the first thing that I notice is PSTs are available in contacts now. And if I go to Adele, that, your contacts, your list. Again, if you are new to New Outlook, this is a new layout for you altogether. But for folks who's been using New Outlook since 2023, 24, I think this is the new look that this has not changed for you. But they did fix the categories. One of the bugs was that if you unassigned a particular category from all your contacts, it still stayed in your left navigation. That has been fixed, so I was glad about that. The other thing is that they were only allowing you to delete 10 contacts at a time. That has been fixed. I think it's up to 100 at a time right now. And the other thing that I noticed is with the export contacts. Export contacts before wasn't very clear. For an example, I thought that I was, let's take a look at it here. I thought that I was actually exporting a particular contact list, which is of only 4 people, and I kept exporting all. Couple other things that is kind of associated with contacts. Let's take a look at Nestor. If I click on it, I have his contact information, organization details, who he report to, and any files that we have exchanged through email. So, this was really nice that you can, track down the files and any messages that you have had with Nestor. Now, just so you know, you don't have to come to contacts to see this view. You have access to this from the calendar as well as from the inbox. All you have to do is just double click on his name and that profile card will come up. The biggest change that I saw in New Outlook in 2025, I had to put it in the Microsoft bag. It's Copilot. So if you have a Microsoft 365 license, you have a Copilot features. You can summarize emails, you can chat, and you can standardize how you want your messages. So I'll show you that. And for folks with the premium Copilot license, you get much more. And one of my favorite is the prioritize your inbox. This is something I use every day, and I can't wait to show you that. So again, it's all about Copilot. Okay, so I am actually in Adele's account. She has a standard Microsoft 365 account, not the premium. And she has some Copilot functionalities. If you go to View Settings, click on Copilot. Notice under Preferences, you have the option to turn it on or off. If you see Prioritize, notice it says that this feature is not supported by this selected account. Again, for prioritize your emails, you have to have a premium Copilot license. You can draft instructions. So when you're chatting, you can actually state what your preferences are, your tone, how long you want it to be, how do you want to see the greetings, hello, Nestor, or hey, Ness. So you can kind of control some of that ahead of time. So when Copilot generates your draft, it sounds like you. So that's the first thing that you want to do. You also have the ability to summarize the email. Let's say that I have this email, which, several emails deep. At the top, I click on Summarize. And Copilot chat window will open up on the right-hand side and give me a summary of this email. So I don't have to read everything when it comes to this email. So that's great. Notice in the chat window that I can further, this conversation with Copilot about saying, what are the next steps? And let's see what Copilot provides. It provides what the next steps are based on that email. When composing a new email, you can ask Copilot for assistance. Notice it says draft with Copilot. I click on this pencil. I can, short or friendly message, request information, give update announcements, and it even says create a newsletter here as well. So Copilot can help you draft an email. Again, today is not about showing you the deep dive. I just want to let you know what is here. But let me take you over to the premium version and show you what's available there, because there are some differences. This is the standard Microsoft 365 subscription. So with the premium license, if I go to Copilot, I can chat, which is going to open up that chat window. Because this information is grounded in Microsoft 365 work, I can ask questions about anything. What matters most in my inbox for today? Notice how detailed my prompt is. If I generate, it's searching. It says I have 38 emails from today, and it gives me a list. And I'm going to blur this out for privacy purposes, but you get the gist. Also, if I draft a message, I can ask Copilot to create a message to my team wishing them a happy holiday, make it fun and festive. So let's see what we get. What if I decide to change the tone and say, make this a poem? I can do that. So they turned this into a poem, and we're going to accept it. Let's keep this version. So great. But if I go to Copilot again and say, ask for coaching, because I wanted to review it and make sure that it sounds great. Think about if you're sending out an email to your client and you just want to make sure that the tone is right and everything is good, and you may have a coworker to review it. Well, you don't have to do that anymore because Copilot will give you some suggestions that you can go ahead and make changes. And if I say apply all suggestions, that I am good to go. So, and here I'm going to say replace that with a letter instead of a poem. So how great is that? The next one is my all-time favorite. Let's go to the inbox. Prioritize my inbox. If I click on sort by and choose priority, I see high priority, normal priority, low priority. So I can focus on what's important right now. So that is awesome. If I decide to filter on high priority and change the sort based on from, now I can look at it based on who the messages are coming from. Again, I'm going to blur this out just for privacy purposes. Well, folks, that's all I have. We wrapped up 2025 with the best of new Outlook. Please take a moment and scan the QR code and give us feedback. Just remember, our primary goal is to support this year's Festive Tech Calendar 2025 charity, Beeson Cancer out of Scotland. Any donation that you can give will be much appreciated. Happy holidays.